first question is around the wearing of face masks as a containment strategy for COVID. I think the science and the evidence is clear. Yes, there are issues about how we wear them, but not whether we wear them or not. And there are concerns around supply and cost. But homemade masks require a needle, a thread, a piece of material, and for some of us, a little tuition from YouTube. But I know, for example, of a group of volunteers from Sligo, Leitrim, Roscommon, Donegal. They're called Northwest Sews Masks and Gowns. They have supplied 500 scrubs and 4,000 masks nationwide with the help of the Gardaí. They have fundraised, and they and other groups would be willing to upscale. It might even become a small income stream for some people. So I want to ask you, how soon can we expect guidance on masks? Secondly, you've already answered this question about the public health passenger locator form, but I want to emphasise to you that our own citizens are not allowed to move more than 5 kilometres from their own homes. So if you're not going to enact legislation to require incoming passengers to sign this form, how are you going to close that gaping hole in the containment strategy for COVID? And my third question is around our local authorities. Many of them are on their knees in respect to resources. It's not just collapse of rates for 3 months, it will be the end of the year before this is sorted. There's a collapse in other revenues, parking charges, charges for planning applications. They've disappeared. There's increased costs around COVID. And can I take this opportunity to thank our local authorities for the sterling work they have done in this instance. But I want to ask you, what plans do you have in place to support our local authorities who are literally running out of money? Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Taoiseach.
Thanks very much, Deputy. The wearing of face masks and face coverings is in fact still very much a matter of scientific debate. I know some scientists speak about it with great certainty, but certainly within the expert advisory group and within NEFID and within the World Health Organization, the ECDC, the CDC, you name it, you hear different advice because there isn't a scientific consensus on this matter. The research that has been done has largely been done in healthcare settings, not in the community, and has been done more generally and not specific to SARS-CoV-2. And therein lies a difficulty. But the advice currently from NEFID is that healthcare workers should wear a face mask and that those with symptoms should do. And they're considering now whether to extend that advice more widely. And of course there are different types of masks, surgical masks, respirator masks, face coverings, and we do have to bear in mind the risk of a lack of supply. We don't at the moment have a problem with the supply of face masks, but if we ask people to wear 2 or 3 or 4 a day, having 16 million a day available is difficult. So, you know, it's not the slam dunk that the Deputy may suggest it is, but it is something that is very much under consideration by the National Public Health Emergency Team. On the passenger arrival form, we are considering regulations to make that mandatory. We don't need primary legislation. It's possible for the Minister for Health to make regulations under existing legislation, and that is under consideration. In relation to local authorities, the Deputy makes a very good point about local authorities being under some difficulty with their funding arrangements at the moment. The 3-month rates waiver will help them because they will get that money from central government. And they'll actually get more than they would have got in because you never have 100% payment of rates, but we will give them the 100%. So that'll be a bit of a cash boost to them. But I fully appreciate that they're going to have other lost revenues in other areas. And we will work with local authorities on that. But I also need to be very frank with people as well, whether it's individuals, whether it's businesses, whether it's public bodies, local authorities, state agencies. It may not be possible for the taxpayer to compensate everyone for everything they've lost. That just may not be possible. But we will do the best we can within the resources we have.